Every single year, we have players break NBA records, but this season has been crazy in that department, whether it's obscure rookie records or some of the most sought after in the entire league. It's rare you have a season quite like this, so today, we're going to be taking a look at some of the biggest NBA records we saw broken this season. If you guys like the content, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, let's go crazy, let's aim for 19 likes on today's video, and let's get into this. For today's video, I decided to start off with some small records and work our way up to the ones that are truly going to be talked about for generations. And we're going to kick things off with one of the most unique performances I think we've ever seen, which came from the hands of Utah Jazz small forward Bojan Bogdanovic. In a game just over a month ago against the Oklahoma City Thunder, he went off from the perimeter, knocking down 11 of his 18 three-point attempts, which, considering the fact that the record for threes in a game is 13, was extremely impressive. But the crazier part is that those 11 threes were the only shots he made the entire game. He took just one shot inside the arc, which he didn't make, so he's now the record holder for the most threes made in a game without making a 2. Pretty crazy, but that's just a little record compared to the stuff that we're about to get into. This video is sponsored by PrizePicks. It's a player prop site legal in most US states where I've been having a ton of fun. Last week I hit my biggest entry yet for $2,500. The playoffs are here, and to add to the intensity, you already know I'm going to be doing PrizePicks every single night. For today's entry, we actually don't have any games tonight, so you've got some time to get this in. I'm going with over on Trent Young's points in the play-in game tomorrow against Cleveland. He got off to a slow start yesterday, don't see that happening again. He goes for 30 with ease. Then I'm taking Rudy Gobert's over on rebounds on Saturday. When he plays a lot of minutes, 20 rebounds is fully in the conversation, so give me 14.5. Then I'm going to be taking Embiid and Jokic's over on points. The MVP candidates are going to show up to start the playoffs, no question. I'm putting $250 on this for my second $2,500 win in 2 weeks. If you guys want to play along, go to the link in the description, use code Jimmer, and they're going to give you a deposit match up to $100. Thank you PrizePicks for sponsoring today's video. The next record is actually between two players, possibly the best duo in the league, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. We all know both these guys are capable of going off every single night, and that was on full display when Kevin Durant scored 53 points on March 13th in a game versus the Knicks. In the Nets' following outing on March 15th against the Orlando Magic, Kyrie would go off for 60 points. You add on the fact that Kyrie had just dropped 50 points 2 games ago for him, and you see just how scary this team could be in the playoffs. They became the first teammates with 50-point performances in consecutive contests. What's so special about these guys when it comes to big performances is how they do it. Most people that get to that 50-point mark get there through a lot of wide open attempts and getting to the free throw line. You don't see that much with these two, and that was truly apparent in that 60-point performance for Kyrie. It didn't feel like he had a clean look all night. Now, with him being able to play at home games, I'm really interested to see how everything goes in the playoffs. Now we go to our first rookie record, and that's coming from the 6th overall pick to the Thunder, Josh Giddey. Considering what he was doing in the Australian NBL before coming to the NBA, and the fact that he's 6'8" at the point guard position, it's really no surprise his rookie records almost exclusively deal with triple-doubles. He became the youngest player to record back-to-back triple-doubles after putting up 28 points, 11 rebounds and 12 assists in a game versus the Knicks, just one game after putting up 11, 12, and 10 against Chicago. In that performance against New York, he also became the youngest player to record a 20-point triple-double. But what's even crazier is that in the following game, he would again drop a triple-double, but sadly, just a couple days later, would suffer a hip injury that ultimately ended his season. It's definitely interesting to think about how he would have finished off the season, considering just how crazy the run he was on. Speaking of a crazy run, the next record we have is from another rookie, and that's Jalen Green, scoring the most points ever by a rookie in a single month. Now, this shouldn't be too surprising if you've been paying attention to the numbers he's been dropping lately. In the final 9 games of the season, he averaged 28 points, shooting 49% from the field and 43% from 3. It was a rough start to the season, but man, does this have to have Rockets fans excited. Now, we usually see rookies have a good end of the season, but a lot of the times, that has to do with new opportunity. Considering that Jalen Green has had all the opportunity in the world all season, I think he's in for a big season next year. Our next record is also another crazy scoring run, and that's when Gary Trent Jr. of the Toronto Raptors became the first player in NBA history to record 5 consecutive 30-point games, with 5 or fewer 30-point games prior in their career. Trent Jr. has really turned into a great young player for the Raptors. In a 5-game span at the end of January and start of February, he recorded 32, 32, 33, 31, and 33-point performances consecutively. He had only scored 30 points in a game just 2 times before this run. I think the Raptors have one of the more interesting cores in the entire league, and Trent Jr. is a big part of that. The next record was probably the coolest to witness, and that was DeRozan having back-to-back game-winning buzzer beaters, the first player to ever do that in NBA history. On New Year's Eve, in a game against the Pacers, down by 1 point with just a few seconds left to go, it appeared that DeRozan wasn't fully aware of just how little time was left, ended up throwing up a 3, that went in, and the Bulls won the game. In their very next performance against the Wizards, they found themselves down by 2 points with 3.3 seconds left. There was no question who was getting the ball. DeRozan got it in the corner, pump faked, and threw up a 3 over Corey Kispert, and obviously made it. I think what's so interesting about this record is not only does it embody just how special of a season DeRozan has had, but these shots were both 3-pointers, something that DeRozan has notoriously struggled with throughout his career. The next record we have is the only not so impressive one, but I still thought it was worth mentioning, and that's James Harden becoming the all-time leader in missed 3-pointers. Now James Harden needs to credit a lot of this record to Daryl Morey and Mike D'Antoni. He's always been right around league average when it comes to his 3-point percentage, aside from this year where he's having a down season. So this record mostly just stems from his insane volume at the perimeter. A few years ago, the Rockets embraced analytics and almost exclusively took shots right at the basket or beyond the 3-point line. A product of this was James Harden taking over 10 3-point attempts a game for 3 straight seasons, including a year where he took over 12 and another year where he took over 13. Absolutely insane. Now, I mentioned that we have some of the biggest records in NBA history, and one of those came from projected MVP this season, Nikola Jokic. He became the first player to record over 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, and 500 assists. Jokic's season was able to average 27 points, 14 rebounds, and 8 assists a game, which is crazy considering he's a 7-foot center. Now, there's a lot of players that have come close to this feat, most notably Russell Westbrook's MVP season, which he played 81 games, averaging nearly a 30-point triple-double. But Westbrook wasn't able to get the rebounding volume to match Jokic. Jokic is one of the most special talents I've had the pleasure to see. It's crazy just how impactful he is on the court, and that's evident in the fact that he's carried, all things considered, a pretty terrible supporting cast to nearly 50 games. I really think the Nuggets have a chance to be one of the scariest teams in the league when they can finally get Murray and Porter Jr. back and fully healthy. The next record breaker we have is none other than Stephen Curry. Now, when we're talking about Curry and NBA records, it almost always has to do with his historic 3-point shooting, and this record is no different. He surpassed Ray Allen to become the all-time leader in 3-pointers made. Considering that Curry has been in the league for 13 years, where he shot 43% from 3 on almost 9 attempts a game across his entire career, it's been very clear for a while now he would end up breaking just about every single 3-point record. It's just really been a matter of when. This is far from the only 3-point related record he's added just this season. He became the fastest player to 150 made threes in a year. He went off in the All-Star game, knocking down the most threes in a quarter, half, and entire game, just to name a couple. I'm actually really rooting for the Warriors this season. They've gone from the enemy to the underdog. With Curry expected to return to the Warriors early on in the playoffs, I'm excited to see him just add to their record books. The last record I want to mention, easily the biggest one broken this season, comes from none other than LeBron James, who is now the all-time leader in total points between both the regular season and the playoffs. It just doesn't make sense what he was able to do this year. We forget sometimes that he's about to be in the league for 20 years. He's 37 years old, making him one of the oldest players in the league currently, but somehow he just put together one of the best scoring seasons of his entire career, averaging 30 points, shooting 52% from the field, and 36% from 3. He also became the oldest player in history to record multiple 50-point games in a single season. He's far from done, so I don't think we're close to done talking about LeBron James when it comes to NBA records. But that's the video, guys. You guys give me your thoughts in the comments below. If you liked the video, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.